of water. And thanks to people like Ganesh and Anand, we were able to now monitor and understand where we are going. With that, I'll quickly move into the introducing the panel. Sir, if each of you would like to introduce yourself.
Very good afternoon. I'm Manjunath from Toyota Kileska Motor, currently serving as a plant engineering head and carbon neutral initiative group head. It's a privilege to be a part of this mutual learning. Yesterday I missed the session, but today I attended, and a lot of new learning, insights, development, and where we can improve our process. We got a lot of ideas. Thanks for the organizer. And we, being a vehicle manufacturer, we create a pollution. So how to reduce in our operation, products, as well as the services is our objective. In that, we have achieved many milestones. Currently, whatever Toyota vehicle you are seeing on the road, it's 100% renewable energy we are utilizing in our operation. And we are the first company in the global for the hybrid engine, where reduction of the pollution is possible, and good response in India also we are getting. And in water also, right now, we are utilizing rain harvesting and MBR. So 89% of our water resources from the recycled operations and rain harvesting. So with technological advancement, we are enhancing that up to 96 to 98%. Thank you.
Good afternoon all. Thank you for being a part of this panelist. I am very privileged to Fluxgen, who's supporting in and around for all the industries and infrastructures on this. I'm heading sustainability in Aquarel India Private Limited, which is a CL Textile, a Mauritius-based company. We are into textile manufacturing. So we are manufacturers for global brands like Levi's, CK, Tommy, Jack and Jones. So our export is 85% and domestic market is 15%. So majorly, like in textile, we come under only 10% of supply chain. If we take the supply chain of textile, so 90% is our upstream suppliers. So in 10% only, we want to be achieve our net zero or water positive, whatever we are doing. So that is our aim in textile manufacturing, because without clothes, we will not be there. So clothes is required for everyone. So how the water is required for after garment is made. So we are utilizing that. Currently we are having a system where we are utilizing our domestic wastewater for gardening and flushing, and industrial wastewater we are using for gardening. So our next step is to get back that to the process, because water is not a big impact in our supply chain, but it is in the upstream supply. So that also we want to get 97% of our recycled water again to the process. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Bhaskar. I am from a company called BS Envitech. We are an environment sustainability consulting firm. First of all, I would like to thank the organizers for giving this an opportunity, part of this. And we do a lot of technical feasibility studies on the integrated water management. It's not only just as an inside as a water, even outside, watershed, everything. And also we do a cost benefit analysis for many of the companies to justify why a water project has to be taken up as a business case or any other activities. We look forward to interact with all of you. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Wonderful, sir. A round of applause for our panelists. So let's start with the big question, how AI is shaping. So I would like to understand from you, sir, you must be using a lot of tech in manufacturing process. So when you say 80%, 90% of water saving, how do you see the role of sensors and IoT coming into the picture? How are you doing the monitoring?
Yeah, thank you. Especially for the predictive analysis, that has been helping a lot. for unseen, for example, simple leak and distribution, or the water treatment in recycle, water quality is a very important parameter. To like water treatment is like taking a medicine only in appropriate quantity as well as quality only can treat better like any disease. So dosing of the any chemicals, that quality output quality depend on the treatment. So the treatment parameters will be recognized with IoT sensors as well as other AI tools that will help us to go for a better quality of the output, recycle quality, as in the minimum operational cost. Even though it's a initial adopting that those technology and incorporate in the system is one of the challenge, but once we adopt, it's a fit and finish, that's maintenance free, and it will help in the efficient operation. That will help us environmentally, economically, as well as sustainable operation. Thank you.
Sir, my question is to you. Sir, like Sir said, there's a lot of monitoring that goes on. Now, in a production plant or in a facility, this is all fine. How do you see this in agriculture, sir, where there's a usually huge amount of water wastage that completely goes unnoticed? So how do you see that, sir?
Yeah, this is, I think the agricultural field, definitely if you try to look at as a contract farming or any kind of the large scale farming, definitely it has been very well advanced. But what I could definitely see as an industry, I try to look at how an industry definitely can contribute to the watershed management in a complete area. There is a lot of scope, but still it is an nascent stage. That's what I would like to say. It is not in a bigger scale, larger scale that is really happening. But one good thing what I could really see as a part of the recent scenario, I think some of you may be aware, there is an Alliance for Water Stewardship. There is a program which has been already there. They started a program called Impact Leadership Program, Impact, Watershed Program. That means collectively various organizations within that watershed, they can come together. They are working on two different areas. One is the demand side and also on the supply side, especially for the agricultural activities. There's a lot of things which is happening. But what I could see today, the food and brewery industry, definitely they are working a lot. I would like to see at least 2 to 3% of their corporate CSR funding they are spending on IoTs, especially on the demand side reduction. I worked on 2 different projects into that, covering almost 1,500 hectares of the land which I worked on it. There is a tremendous, improvement which really happened. That is especially in Telangana. So I think all of you know very well for the paddy. For growing the paddy, you require approximately around 10,000 to 12,000 meter cube per season. That is what per ton of the, per hectare of the land. And with these systems, which almost around out of 1,500 hectares, which I can say 600 to 700 hectares, we are able to achieve 600 meter cube per hectare. It's a tremendous change, but that has to be scaled up in a larger level. That's what definitely we can try to see that.
Wonderful, sir. Sir, please.
Just add to sir, AI can be utilized in micro irrigation. That's to understand the soil condition. Each crop required a different type of irrigation method. So that need based on the crop condition, as well as now climatic conditions are very dynamic. The prediction of climatic condition, so what kind of irrigation method, how much water quantity is enough for each crop, we can utilize this tool to get an optimum yield.
Wonderful, sir. Actually, that neatly brings me to my next point of discussion. Sir, we were putting so many sensors, we are getting so much of data sets. Now, in a country like ours, where there is a clear divide between the infrastructure at a rural level and an urban level, and a metropolitan level. So how do you see that infrastructure building up? I know big tech, big companies, they're definitely going to invest in it as a compliance issue more than anything else. But what about this bringing it down to residential projects? How do you see this data infrastructure being put up?
For mainly industry, compliance per se, like everyone are doing. So when we come to complexes and residential, like we need to understand it's a big, huge network. So I can't put IoT in every locations and wherever I want. So we need to have a, like what we want out of IoT, we need to understand the basics. See where I should put that and I should get the data. So for, we need to, it is a old setup, like if you're going for old setup, it's very difficult like to understand where to put and how to fetch the data and which data we need to use, and from that, that is benefited or not. So that is, if you're going for a new setup, that will be easy. We can put at one at inlet and one at outlet, then one at somewhere where we have like usage of water is more. Yeah, it is very difficult to have for the residential project right now. Like it should have some policy should come in. Something like now in Bangalore, like BWSSB is giving Kaveri water without meter, they won't give the connections. So like that, something that should be a legal mandate should be there, because because the water is coming from TKLE for Kaveri water, it is only 100 kilometer from Bangalore. So to pump 100 kilometer from TKLE plant to Bangalore, it's a huge. Mostly 50 to 60% of water is used, Kaveri water is used in Bangalore across the residential areas. So to fetch 100% of water of Kaveri water is not feasible. So last year also we faced the water in Bangalore due to Kaveri. So we need to see like how to build this with collaboration with local regulations and the residential projects.
Okay, sir. So that's a very interesting point you made about residential properties not being accessible. So in Hyderabad, of late, what we are seeing with a lot of developers is, so piped gas, electricity metered, air conditioning metered. Now they have started metering water also. So since the meter already exists, to my mind, it's a very simple step and a very logical step that all this data be collected and try to analyze what are the patterns. And probably once there is sufficient data, there can be a regulatory penalization of excessive overuse of groundwater. Like in the case of Punjab, where because of sugarcane harvesting, there's been excessive water usage, and now the state is having a lot of difficulty. So where do you, sir, see AI playing that role? So do you see it as a more of a predictive tool, or do you see it as something that can actually help optimize the system?
Yeah, I think for a residential and commercial, I can say I would like to talk about two different things here. Because for residential, still I feel it's a long way to really go for it. Because at the end of the day, who's going to pay the cost? This is something which is going to come up. Because when I've done for a large commercial complex water audit, as which I think the previous panel were discussing about it, what is the water consumption, how you do recycle, reuse. Anything, the moment if I start recycling more than 60%, I have a lot of issues on the scaling. So then I definitely realized recycling is not just the water, it should be even the chemistry. So we can definitely measure the inlet water, we can definitely have the meters and the record data, everything that can be there into that. But when you start looking at the recycling, we need to see what will be the long-term impacts on the overall asset. So we have to measure even the quality also. When we went ahead and then start looking, can we measure the conductivity meter? Today, the conductivity meter itself is very expensive for, I can say, residential sites, not for the industrial site. So what I am trying to look at here is even the instrumentation, the cost of the instrumentation also should be a little bit, should come down, should be reasonably available, because we are talking about the mass volume. It is not one or two, the apartments,
Fair
everything.
enough. So, sir, to you, sir, now the perspective that I am getting from this panel is that whatever it is, first we have to measure, analyze, and then do. Sir, but for an AI to work, to actually have any impact, my understanding is it requires a data model, right? We do not, at this point in time, we do not have that kind of data sets that ChatGPT has or Perplexity AI has. So how do you see this as a, do you see this as a challenge, or do you feel that going forward in the coming years, it will become more adaptive and people will start investing in smart meters, and that data can somehow centrally be collected by a local authority or a government entity?
Yeah, definitely. Right now it's looks expensive, but we have alternative ways. Now, space research has helped us a lot of understanding of our planet. So we can take a satellite that studies references to input for our analysis, because right input only can give right solution. So even though we don't have a right combination of the data grasped as of now, but with the help of alternative ways, we have to enhance that, and more accuracy can be analyzed, more accuracy can be brought in the analytics. That will help us. Then maybe with that awareness, number of users may increase. That again can impact the cost cutting in the manufacturing of the sensors or usage. As usage increases, that will help back in the benefits.
Nice, sir. Sir, to you, sir. While this entire conversation is to be about how artificial intelligence and data modeling can actually help shape the next coming years of how the water as a resource is going to be treated. So on day one, I don't know, sir, you were not there, you must not. There was a discussion of using water as a common resource property. So what are your thoughts on that, sir? Like, for example, if tomorrow the government declares lakes as a certain lake as, it's property of the government, and then it is going to monitor the usage, like sir said, either using satellite or etc. Then how do you see that? Do you see that helping in any way in shaping the conservation effort?
Yeah, like now, the stringent compliance has been come for across India on groundwater usage, groundwater monitoring also. So it's somewhat like that, like if you see public lakes and rivers and all. So yeah, that will be in future, it will be there for, because the government officials also need that, because this, if we want to develop any city or any village, the basic needs we need to provide to all. So if the water scarcity is there, then there will be a huge problem to any developments. So that is the crutch of the future, that like everything to be monitored, whatever the water resources I'm using across in and around my industries, or the where the public is using the water resource, it is from the municipal, or it is from groundwater, or it is from the lake. So that is there, it will be a future for that.
Nice, sir. Sir, I would like to ask the audience also a quick question. So, any one of you, anybody, do you feel there is an AI solution that you can come up with regards to how it is going to, like what tool would you like to use? Anybody? Any tool? Or what would you call the ultimate water conservation AI tool? What would you call it? How do you see that tool working? Anybody from the audience? Yes, madam, please.
Sorry, I came a little late, but I think our major water consumption that we look at is in the agriculture sector. And the moment I walked in, I think, sir, you were, I think, talking about that. I do see AIs, and it's already there. So micro irrigation in India came, when we had this whole participatory irrigation management program. Micro irrigation in India was already introduced with two major players, JN Irrigation and Netafim. And it is being, I would say, adoption also, especially in South India, has been quite good. When you look at Maharashtra or Karnataka, in North we are still struggling with that, but in the South, the adoption has been pretty good. Now, there are organizations who have come up with complete automation, both in terms of using the satellite data, as well as putting real-time sensors in the field is not a viable option in India, because somebody will come and steal it. And let's be very clear about that something installing in a field, whether it's a weather monitoring station or any sensor, if you put in the field, you can be very sure the next day it might go just missing, unless it's in lock and key and under strict camera supervision. But satellite data, they use to really detect the soil moisture. And based on that, I think intelligent irrigation system is already there. Now, the challenge comes with respect to affordability, because 85% of the farmers in India are smallholders, small-scale farmers with less than 0.2 hectares of land. So if we can really put them together as cooperatives or farmer collectives, so while we are looking at introducing AI, reshaping water conservation, we cannot look at it in isolation. We have to look at it in a participatory approach. That is there. Now, with respect to urban centers, I think there are already smart buildings also coming up, wherein, where you can detect your water. I think yesterday that young girl, Adya, gave a wonderful presentation for those of you who were here. But at a household level also and at a society level also, monitoring. I think India does have a lot of AI technology already there. Where I really want, more work needs to be done is a lot of data that's coming on government platforms. Like Central Water Commission is collecting a lot of data. Then there are people who are, even Central Groundwater Board. Now to capture that data or to even get that data, or even IMD for that matter, or Bhuvan, you were talking about satellite data, and Bhuvan has got, again, a very good database. But to get access to that data and find the right data, if I go to a USGS website and want a Landsat image, I can get it much faster. If I go to a Bhuvan website and start working on it, I spend a lot of time searching and looking and locating. So access to that data, if that can be simplified, and if we can really use AI or data analytics, which can actually capture that data and interpret it in a form that helps in decision support system. If that can be built, I think that would be a very good contribution, because the moment you start looking at water data, you can then look at conservation efforts. The last thing that yesterday also I spoke about is, can we have the water data captured and displayed the way we have the air quality data, if we really want to bring about that change that we're looking for? Thanks.
Wonderful, ma'am. Ma'am, that was very, very well put. In fact, that actually leads to my next question regarding data sets. So nowadays, Facebook, Instagram, everybody has our data. They have profiled us. They know what we are going to buy. I talk about something, Amazon shows me a wish list of these are the things you need to buy. So when so much of data is being collected, when we are having sufficient data, like ma'am just pointed out, how do we make that access to that data simpler? Sir, anybody from the panel? It's an open question, sir, because I would like to get all three perspectives on this. How do we make that data accessible?
As Madam mentioned, no, that right now the system, ecosystem for this data grasping and analysis, still in India we have a gap. Of course, we have right people with us, but maybe they're working abroad for the other country. So that kind of a right recognition of such, retaining those people with us, and they can work with us, with the government. Right now, government website means it's slower. That's the image is there. But maybe in a decade, it's changing. That work has to be initiated. Maybe it will start as an individual, then as a society or a nation at large. So if we work on those aspects, accuracy will improve. That accurate data can help us for the future utilization point of view. Maybe we are in the nasal stage, but definitely things will get changed.
Sir, do you see any public, private, government kind of a scenario where, for example, with today's air quality. So earlier, I used to work with Hinduja Group. So our entire data, air quality data around the surroundings that we have, including the seawater temperature, is always displayed, and that data is conveyed to even our weather monitoring station data is used to help the local villages if fishermen are going out and it's a rough sea out there. Because of the technology that we had at that time, we could predict to a little bit of extent and kind of give them some advisory. Do you see major corporates coming into this and actually making it a CSR activity rather than strictly putting the onus on a government or statutory body?
I will.
Anybody?
I'll just share our view. Now, currently, based on the stringent regulation or the pollution control norms, that has been monitoring in the maybe local area wise. Like same what sir.
It is monitored but not published.
It is-
The question is about publishing that data. I think, ma'am, that is what you were asking, if I'm not mistaken.
Publishing the data in a in public domain, so that people like us, and many other, for instance, FluxGen is really struggling to get data because they want to develop tools, but without, a decision support system can only be developed based on data. They can, once you have the data, they can actually tell you that, okay, what action needs to be taken, whether it's within limit, beyond limit, all that, I would say people don't have to then to call their people. On your dashboard, everything will be there. So if you really want to take action that somebody is discharging industrial effluent into a water body there, and the data says so, and it's already giving you an alert on your system. So as a director general or as a top management person, you don't have to really rely on anybody. There's enormous amount of transparency, quick access of data, immediate action. And that should be visible to you, that should be visible to us also. Because if I am consuming that water, for instance, for whatever, for potable or non-potable use, I should exactly know that what is the quality of that water. A farmer is using water for irrigation. The farmer should know. We are not realizing that if he's using polluted water, through biomagnification, ultimately it's coming back to us. So I'm looking at publishing the data so that people have access to it and they can take action. They can take action promptly, and I think.
I would like to. Siddharth.
Yeah, please.
So I think adding to what Dr. Fauzi
Just
asked.
before sir, if it is okay with you, we'll make it an interactive session so that.
Yeah, just want to add to what Dr. Fauzi has said. Just like we have right to information, I think right to environmental information should become even more easy accessible. I think when such regulations happen, I think using AI to use this information that is already published by whoever it is, I think it is ULBs or even households to industries, all this data is, if it is available, I think that becomes the small enough to do, big enough to matter. Because once your data is available and you know if it is accessible, and you build a AI layer on it to understand who is doing well and who is doing bad. Like my in-laws live in Dubai, and they just don't get bill. They get a water bill along with the information who is the highest abuser or user of water. So they get a rating in terms of their water use. So my brother-in-law, who is like doesn't want to look bad in the society, he makes sure that if somebody's on shower, he'll say, hey, come out, it's like already too much. I mean, we are already getting bad rating. So there's so much power in data, right? I mean, that way, how do you, I think it helps everybody, whether it is people in the previous section, right? They will get more access to wastewater treatment projects, people working in rainwater harvesting, get more projects, because data is available saying that who is doing really well in environment, who is not doing well in environment, because with AI, you can use the data more than it was possible before.
Thank you, Ganesh. So, sir, like I think the consensus is now data is required. So, thanks to FluxGen, we have already initiated from our end. So, we are actually monitoring our both inflows and outflows. So, we want to fine tune the system. So, in that sense, sir, how do you see any regulation around this? So, right now with STPs, ETPs, everything is regulated. For us, at least for hospitals, we are audited every year, both by the PCB, by the NABH, everybody is after our life. So we are forced to maintain even if the cost is higher, let me put it that way. But sir, how do you see any regulation surrounding AI, this data collection? Because there is a certain privacy concern, because Toyota may not be comfortable sharing their water data at the end of the day, because that will give away certain things. So sir.
Yeah, sure. I think one point, if you try to see, we have the Ministry of Jal Shakti 2021, they have already issued one notification that is for the groundwater. So based on that notification, who is drawing the groundwater, anything more than 100 meter cube per day, there should be a telemetric system, both the quantity and quality, that should be uploaded. That will be operational from 2026. The server is getting ready. So you will get, I would like to say, when I have worked out, let us say 2023 to now, there are 1,25,000 applications were passed. That means at least 1,25,000 locations you will get the data through telemetric system from 2026. But of course, many of the end users have not focused on it. It will be implemented from 2026. And there is again one more thing. If there is any violation, there is a fine that is also introduced. For every 1 meter cube, there is 18 rupees per meter cube is the fine. So they are discussing with the state governments. There will be one major data that will be coming up
Sir,
for us.
this I believe is already implemented in Odisha.
Correct.
Because in Odisha, even if you take a bore well,
Yeah.
you have to have a telemetric meter and that data has to go to the
Yeah.
CGWA website and that data is publicly available
Both
if I'm not
exactly,
mistaken.
both consumption and quality. What the real problem for us is the quality of the groundwater data is very important. Suppose if you want to recycle more, if the TDS is very high, definitely my recyclability in the entire system is low. So definitely I'm going to install some RO plant, rejects will be there, all of that will be a real issue. So one is that. Another thing what I would like to say in India, as I mentioned, Alliance for Water Stewardship, they have come up with the 4 zones, especially the Bangalore. Also there are around 34 companies together as formed, that is called ICT zone. Then we have the Hyderabad, and then we have Rajasthan. So totally around 47 companies, they volunteered to generate the data and then upload the data. It is not only just water quality and quantity, all watershed parameters. I think now what we are trying to say, even the farmers, agricultural consumption, soil quality, and the drought conditions, moisture, everything will be there. So in soon, what I would like to just say is at least 1,000+ companies will be joining, corporates, not companies, so corporates. That means at least I can say 2,000-3,000 industries, at least locations, you will be getting it. So my opinion, what I am trying to say in the future, yes, government regulations always will be there, but there will be a collective responsibility. That is more important. That's what I feel. It is called the impact that has to be made from all sectors, all groups from the societies. That's what we hope in. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was very insightful. Sir, coming back to you, sir. Again, like I said, Toyota may not be comfortable sharing the entire data set. So, because this has happened in the past where companies, it is very easy to profile based on data. So that is a growing concern because nowadays everything is online and it definitely gives away a lot of stuff. So how do you see from your perspective, sir? How do you feel that this is a data that can be published without fear, or do you feel that there is need to be certain regularization or some anonymized data like we do with hospital data? How do you do that, sir?
Right now, the concern of once we publish the utilization part, maybe some apprehensions are there. It may be with every organization. That creating awareness like social as a responsibility, because any resources belongs to not only the particular organization, it belongs to the society, the people working there, they again live in the society. With that perspective, trust and transparency has to develop. That both as an organization, as an individual, whatever data any organization can publish, that will be used with responsibility. That way, we need to create awareness as well as transparency. Maybe as Madam also mentioned, within the organization, grasping is there for the regulatory point of view or competitive point of view. But outside publication, still the gap is there. I agree for that. In the meantime, that's as a awareness, creating awareness and sense of responsibility in all stakeholder can make a difference. That way we can progress.
Right, sir. I think that's a very well answered question because it is a slightly tricky question. But sir, coming to you, one of the things that keeps me awake at night is what if AI actually gets it wrong? What if it gets it wrong? What if we use an AI model and then you have a flooding like situation like what happened in Kerala? Then what do we do? So your thoughts on that, sir?
Still not thought about that, like if anything happens on the, because we are dependent on that. So something backup we need to have based on the IoT also. So like how we are doing in the older days. So something we need to think on that other than IoT also, like we should have some backup for the, one is on the data management, second thing is on the, if the anything drought happened in that location, we need to see what we can do best. That I can say.
Sir, your thoughts on AI getting it wrong?
Definitely. See, I opine this way. Always I try to go back and try to see. There'll be layers of protection. Any technology, there is a probability of occurrence of going wrong or something not functional, anything into it. So there should be multiple layers how you try to really monitor, because we cannot 100% depend on AI. If in any country, organization, if you try to look at, say, I operate large ZLD plants, zero liquid discharge plants. So we have almost 3 layers of monitoring. One is all the sensors, everything, the data, then predictive maintenance data, that also we see machine learning, that also we take about it. And over and above, there should be an external audit. Every 3 months, we see whether the data is okay or not. So I feel at one point of time, there should be a level of controls should be there. That is what my opinion.
So eventually human beings will survive in that case. So I don't need to worry about losing my job to an AI assistant. Thank God. So, sir, with that, I would now actually like to open up to the audience as well, because the idea behind this conversation is it should not be limited to one panel or one panelist. It should be a collaborative effort. We got some nice points from Madam and Ganesh. So anybody else who would, yeah, Anand, please.
Yeah, my question is to Manjunath sir. So while Toyota has been taking a lot of initiatives, I would like to know, because Toyota is the industrial leader, especially considering the plant which is in Bangalore. So you are the leader in that area. You manage the industrial association. All the other industries are the supply chain, like it's the subsidiaries of Toyota or some way associated with Toyota. As an industrial association, what is the initiative or the approach towards implementing this kind of AI-based monitoring system, say for water? Right now, I know that it's completely unorganized. It's completely manually done in Bidadi. So what is the approach as an association and an industrial leader? Are you going to monitor it? Are you going to digitize it in the future? Or what is the inhibition towards that?
There are sequential steps. Right now, for example, in our native, around Bidadi, around the 1,000 industries are there, MSME to Toyota. What we mutually share each other practices, especially when natural resource conservation or utilization, it's not belongs to one industry or one location. It's if it rain happens in Bangalore or doesn't happen, there will be impact to Bidadi also. That kind of association is interlinked, interdependency. So creating awareness is first step. So that we started, not only with our group of supply chain, it's behind the business competition. Like we share with our competitor also in case of natural resource conservation or any good practices mutually benefited to each other. That kind of openness is there. It's not only with Toyota, with any industry right now happening. Second, association with the society. Because end of it, we have to build a confidence. One general tendency, if industry will pollute, that was the, maybe because of the history, they may be assuming that. But now trends are changing. It's a coexistence with industry as well as the society or neighborhood. is very important. Considering that one, they are open to visit and check. That's one thing. And for the future generation, we created as a part of CSR eco zone. That's some 27 acres area. We created a park, eco park. 27 theme parks are there. It's including a water conservation, plastic reduction, or energy conservation. These aspects will be trained for the school children. So it's every month 3 to 4 schools are visiting and creating awareness for the future generation. Because the says that no, we are not owning these resources. It's we have taken borrowed from our future generation. So we have to conserve it, preserve it, and hand over in a better condition what we may be experiencing. So that kind of little steps are expanding. Maybe that will be useful for community as well as society.
Great. Adding on to that, sir, again, coming back to my question, as an association, monitoring the resources from a centralized point of view. So I can see India is having a lot of industrial clusters, and very rarely have seen any industrial cluster having a centralized monitoring system for the resources. So my question is Toyota having a plan for having a centralized resource monitoring system because I think Bidadi Industry Association is giving water to all the industries. The Kaveri water, yes. They are storing and they are distributing it. Right now, the billing or monitoring is done manually. Yes. And there is no collective data as a digitized or real-time data is not there. And this is a Kaveri water which is being distributed. So there is chances that NRW is there and there are unaccounted water going to multiple areas, there will be leakages. So is there a futuristic plan which Toyota is ready to take it up in the coming, do you have a policy or Bidadi Industry Association is having any vision towards future that you want to reduce this, where you want to, as an association, you want to completely automate this process?
As a BIA is association, Bidadi Industrial Area Association, we are also part of that association. Collective efforts are there in order to conserve and minimize the utilization. That is, right now, as you rightly mentioned, there is no monitoring in each industry because it's again creating awareness and making him accountable. It's only association implementing something as a technology. If it is not sustained or maintained, there is no use. So creating awareness among all stakeholders and going for better, like what we can do, we are sharing our practices to them. What benefit we are getting. It's not only compliance, it is giving edge in the business. That's giving economical benefits as well as environmental benefit to us. That kind of awareness we are creating. But as a BIA, we cannot commit right now. But as together, we are putting our best effort to conserve and reserve the resources for the future.
Thank you, sir.
I think, sir, since what Anand is trying to say is, since Toyota is one of the industry leaders, let us put the first step forward. Anand, is that what you're trying to say? So, sir, anyways, in the next session, there is a pledge and all. Okay. So what Anand is expecting from you is a commitment that within the next year, BI will have a completely automated water monitoring system.
Definitely. No need to wait for next hour. We'll commit as individually, as an organization. We are committed always.
There you go, Anand.
Resource conservation. For automation and other thing, okay, definitely it goes with the process. So, but we are committed.
Okay. Wonderful.
So I just wanted to add to what Anand said. And Government of India has now come with, for industries at least, a document which is called Water Neutrality Document. And wherein they're expecting that industries go water neutral by offsetting their water footprint. You said you do a lot of work. I'm presuming, as I said, I walked in late. Now I know you are from Toyota, at least for the other two, I still don't know which organizations they represent, but broadly I'm putting this question. a car, you know, when we read about water footprint, we say a car has a water footprint of roughly about 40,000 liters of water. It may not be inside the fence, it may be in the value chain. That it, from where you're taking steel and how steel is being manufactured. But overall, a car has a footprint of 40,000 liters. Now, when it comes to energy, we go for scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Are we looking at a point where we will have similar kind of thing for water also? That water being used within the fence? I know there is a Bureau of Water Efficiency coming up shortly, but are we looking at something similar? Because we don't value water the way we value energy, so we don't look at it from that perspective, that
Yes.
measuring it process-wise. And I think automation will make it very simple to really measure and manage that. Because when the water is not available, yesterday I think one of the problem statement which ASCII brought out was also businesses getting affected because of lack of water. So are we looking at a step therein where industries would start measuring their scope 1, scope 2, and scope 3 water use also?
Sir,
Yeah.
before you answer, ma'am, I would like to just answer your point from a relatively industry perspective. To my limited understanding, sir can provide more detailed insights. So when we say scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, the way it is presently defined for energy, what is my scope 3 could be your scope 1 also, right? So that is the scenario. Now for water, what we have seen is unless and until there is a crisis, people don't move. And this is very true. So I don't know how many people here know this, but there was a point of time when Andhra Pradesh, the United Andhra Pradesh, was having a severe drought crisis. That brought out a policy from the government mandating rainwater harvesting. So the industry right now, because there is, in our country by nature itself has plenty of resources. And because the industry has not faced that crisis at a level where their production gets halted. So I think now that this conversation is happening, I'm sure sir will be able to elaborate more, but I think this will start that change that you're asking for.
More than, means right now maybe regulation may not there, but our initiative as a global direction, we are committed towards the environment in 3 aspects: the products, the process, then the services. For that, 6 commitments in 2016, our global has announced, even we are part of that commitment. By 2035 as a phase 1, then 2050 as a carbon neutral, that is a declaration. As a part of that, water is a 4th declaration. Water positive is the aspect. In that aspect, we are, before expanding to our supply chain or neighborhood, we should lead by example. For that, like in 2005 onwards, recharge pits have been created. Like today, we proudly say that even we declared in our sustainability also, from 27 meter to our water table is 8 meter today. That's the condition because of that commitment continuity. And coming to expand scope 1, scope 2, we have a green purchase policy, which we first expand to our tier 1 supply chain, then the tier 1 to next supply chain. That association is there. In that aspect, what we do, 2 to 3 times based on the supplier association plan, they visit us, they understand the practices, which initially maybe our own perspective we started, but that will be useful for our own operations, that can be useful for them also. And we explain them when we can do, they also can do. That with the examples, when we explain, their expansion in their operation also is started. Right now, maybe it's not appreciable percentage, but in case of renewable energy, we are ahead. In case of water, Of course, based on the region wise, because our supply chain is pan-India as well as global, this one. In pan-India, certain zones are very supportive. That of course, their local condition also is demanding that. Because of that, their speed also is good. Also maybe there, but their association is, we are getting good response and it is helping to each other. Thank you, madam.
Sir, very interesting that you spoke about certain regions being more favorable towards renewables or any sustainability initiatives. From our perspective, sir, we are now, we have set our target for ourselves to decarbonize by 20-30% in the next 5 years. So when we started looking at solutions, except for states like Maharashtra, Karnataka until recently, I believe the regulation has been now changed. There is largely no clear-cut support or clear-cut guideline from a government authority on open access solar or integrating to the grid. Even net metering becomes a challenge in some places. Like Hyderabad, Telangana and Andhra, earlier they had a policy, now they don't. So how do you see these kind of intermittent policy changes and renewals affecting any initiative that we do? So
Sir, right now, like in case of energy, there is no central policy. The state-wise variations are there. Of course, we are fortunate. Karnataka government is very supportive. Gujarat is leading. Next is Karnataka, the supportive in case of support system for the going for a renewable. So that has helped us to today. We are the first plant 100% electricity gone with renewable among Toyota group also. Because Europe, they made it a mandatory. But in India, there is no as such regulation. But because of government supportive and our initiative, it was collaborated well, we were able to achieve it. That kind of a collaboration is there. Seeing this, now state-wise, there is a revisit. Of course, all the state may not be equal policies right now, but they will come up. We are hoping for that
I think
policy matter.
I think people like you and the other two panelists should actually start a campaign from today itself to initiate these policy changes, sir. Why I say this is, in the West, things run on policy. Everything is documented. Even if it's a terrible policy, it is documented properly. The challenge that I see in our country is we don't document things. We don't make data public. We are scared that something is going to go wrong. And I think that is something the generation now is going to overcome. Hopefully, in the next coming years, we should have a very much more transparent data system, at least with regards to sustainability and carbon accounting across the country. Sir, in the interest of time, I would like each one of you to just conclude with what's your big hope for the future of AI in water conservation? Your thoughts. We'll start with you, sir, and then 1, 2, 3.
See, as we already discussed, unlike energy, water is definitely will not be driven by the price as a tariff. That's what I can see, that it will be definitely based on the scarcity and then availability. So what I could definitely see is already the industries and the other communities already started recycling voluntarily, because now today water has got an opportunity cost. That's what it is. Definitely AI is going to play a big role, at least in the industrial sector. I can definitely see that. It is not future. I would like to say it is already there. It is going to increase very abruptly. That's what I can see into that. And then the second aspect which we can see is the immediate community. Wherever the industries and other places are there, immediate community, definitely they will start contributing it, because we have the CGW guideline is there. Then we have the Minister of Jal Shakti guidelines. So the partnership definitely will happen. So there also on the agricultural sector, especially the smaller footprint, especially the smaller watersheds, that's going to happen. Of course, the residential sector still, I feel, my opinion, it takes some more time.
Hello. Yeah, going forward, like that will be like a stringent norms from the regulations also. What currently for groundwater NOC they are taking. So for industries like in concern, they'll be providing like so much KLD will be using, but no one is coming back and telling that I'm using this much only. That is a big challenge. If I'm taking 100 KLD, I'll be using 150 KLD. Who knows like actual usage is there. So already the concern and regulations are there, but it is individual perspective like how we go take forward to our future generations. Example, if I'm so well aware of that, I should use only 100 KLD, whatever the consumption I'm taking from the board, I should use within 100 KLD. If I want to expand, I should take permission beyond whatever the process I'm adding. So that is one thing like it is there, but the government regulations also should come with that something should put to the industries also, because industries are using across the industry sectors, I'm telling, not about only the automobile or textile or agriculture. So they should have some mechanism to monitor like what is your per day consumption of your process. So that will be leading to your water conservation for the future generations also. If you have a checkpoint from the regulations that, and you should have like how we for any pollution like you're letting out to the nearby lakes or nearby rivers, there should be a penalty for like how the NGT is there currently. That should be having a stringent, because people think that environment is nothing, like they don't fine anything. But once you get a fine in crores, then we'll get the heat of that what is environment, because the environment is not only for the individuals, it is a collective for all what we are here. And it should be regulated very fast, that without losing the resources in future, the regulation should come very fast, and the IoT should play a major role in the usage of water also, and recycling part also. And it should be mandated, like in Karnataka, how they mandated, like you should have rainwater harvesting system if you're building a new house. So something that should be mandated from the policy should be very stringent, that if you have taking 100 KLD of water, 50% from you should use from recycling. That should be the policy makers should, and individuals should put to the who are the policy makers across the India or states. That I feel that is we are feeling somewhere back. That's why we are sitting like calmly in that water is nothing for us. But if it is resources like in African countries, they're running out of the water. So people, so it should not come in India like that. So we should having a stringent regulations on the water also, how the energy is made. So that will be saved for our future generations. Thank you.
Just to conclude, freshwater crises are becoming severity right now. So now it become necessary to go behind our conventional conservation steps for any resource as such, as a water also. Considering that one, AI can help us in breakthrough ways through the technology advancement as well as predictive management. Right now, maybe most of you agree with the infrastructure, either municipal corporation or the industry. Old infrastructure will tend to leak, as well as distribution is not proper. That kind of challenges are there, where AI can help us to recognize the problem in the preliminary stage, can help us to correct at the initial stage, so that it is not only conservation, it is a benefit to economy also. Considering that way, AI has a vital role. Of course, we are carrying one risk factor. We cannot keep, we cannot totally depend on AI also. That some human interface as a hybrid system required, Analytic we can use, but sensibly we have to judge. This kind of a combination will become beneficial to everybody, not only industry, society, considering the environmental success and economical success also. So vital role, only we have to use it sensibly. Thank you.
So that was very well put. So, in the words of our father of nation, I believe in this that our nation has enough for our needs, but not for our greeds. So let's not be greedy. Let us be conservative. Let us not overexploit resources, and let us all work together for a better, sustainable tomorrow. And with that, I thank the audience for being so lovely and asking us wonderful questions. And I believe that concludes our panel here. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much to all four of you for sharing your knowledge, thoughts, but also all the amazing work you're doing in your own way. I'd like to invite Anand to the stage to share, present our token of appreciation.